A silence descends when the world sleeps, a heavy, suffocating blanket that covers the sounds of the day. But sometimes, in the deepest part of that silence, a different kind of sound emerges, the sound of a heart pounding against ribs, a primal rhythm of terror in the dark. Imagine waking up not to the gentle light of morning, but to the full, terrifying realization that you are trapped inside your own body. Your mind is screaming, your eyes are wide, but your muscles refuse the command. You are a prisoner in the hollow silence of your bedroom. What happens then when you cannot move, cannot call out, and something in the shadows begins to move toward you? I am Paul, and you are listening to Stories Philippines podcast. The experience shared by a reader, whom we'll call Helena, is one of the most classic and most terrifying encounters in the global tapestry of the paranormal. The visitation of the black figure during an episode of sleep paralysis. But Helena's story, told against the backdrop of a Filipino home and layered with physical illness and deep faith, elevates the simple phenomenon into a spiritual battlefield. Helena describes that familiar, horrifying sensation that grips so many of us in the middle of the night. It starts not as a dream, but as an abrupt awakening where the brain is fully conscious, yet the body remains in the protective stasis of forming sleep. A condition called sleep paralysis. She felt that crushing weight on her chest, a classic symptom often described as an invisible force or entity pinning the victim down. Every breath felt like a desperate tug of war with the air itself. It's an agonizing state. In that moment of absolute vulnerability, Helena caught a glimpse of something. It's an agonizing state. In that moment of absolute vulnerability, your life. In Helena, an absolute vulnerable life. It's an agonizing state in your life. There's no escape. Indistinct at the foot of her bed. It was indistinct, a blotch of pure darkness, but she felt its gaze. It was looking at her, studying her, knowing her helplessness. The silence of the room was punctured only by the frantic drumming of her own heart. She tried to scream, to call out for the sister and younger siblings sleeping beside her, but her throat was locked, sealed by fear and biology. Then, the shadow moved closer. In the dead quiet, she heard a low, unintelligible whisper. A sound too close, too unnatural, that scraped against her nerves and raised the hair on her arms. It was language without meaning, yet its intent was clear. It felt predatory, like something preparing to pull her right out of her own skin. There is a place where science ends and absolute terror begins. It's when the logical explanation of the mind's failure to wake the body fully gives way to the chilling, undeniable feeling that you're not alone in the dark. Helena made a connection that is both profoundly insightful and culturally resonant. She noticed that these terrifying visitations always occurred when she was physically exhausted, sick, or burdened by emotional stress. She felt that the shadows only found their way to her when her body was suffering. For Helena, the black figure wasn't just a monster. It was a dark, terrifying reminder that she was neglecting herself. This observation is fascinating because it touches on the scientific and cultural explanation for these events. Scientific insight. Sleep paralysis episodes are indeed triggered by irregular sleep patterns, stress, and fatigue. When the body is run down, the brain struggles to transition cleanly between sleep stages, leading to the frightening overlap where the mind is awake but the body is still paralyzed. Theological connection. In many Filipino and global folk traditions, when a person is weakened, either by sickness, grief, or exhaustion, their soul, kaluluwa, is considered vulnerable, easier for evil spirits or malignant entities, masamang espiritu, to approach or even take over. The darkness preys on the depleted spirit. Helena's chilling climax came on a night when she was burning with fever, covered in an allergic rash. Her body was already a battleground, making her feel utterly exposed. She woke up in the paralysis, murmuring to herself, "Here it comes again." She fought it with all her might, trying to move her arms, but the invisible hands were pressing down, suffocating her. In that desperate, airless struggle, she forced out the only weapon she had left. Prayer. She whispered, "In Jesus' name, leave me." In Jesus' name, the pressure released. She gasped for air and was free. But the darkness was not done. An overwhelming, oppressive drowsiness pulled her back. It was a voice inside her mind, not heard with her ears but felt in her thoughts. Go back to sleep. Against her will, her eyes fluttered shut, and that's when the true terror began. This time, she saw it clearly. A figure in black, standing tall at the foot of her bed. It had no discernible face, a shape as dark and final as the void of space. It moved without sound, without effort, until it was on top of her, pinning her down with a physical, crushing weight. She felt its cold hands wrap around her throat. The terrifying detail here is that she was certain this wasn't a dream. She could see the details of her own room, the wall, the post outside. This was real. A deep, guttural, unholy voice roared through the room, speaking in words she couldn't understand. Her body shook uncontrollably. She thought this was it, her final breath. In that last moment of fear and faith, she stopped fighting the monster and surrendered to her belief. She cried out in her spirit, "Lord, I put myself in your hands. In Jesus' name." Then, as suddenly as it began, the grip was gone, the darkness evaporating. She woke up, jolted back into her body, shaken and weeping. She refused to close her eyes again, sitting up, playing worship songs and praying, a powerful act of spiritual self-defense. Helena's black figure has appeared across cultures for centuries. In Newfoundland, Canada, it is known as the Old Hag, who sits on the victim's chest. In Mexico, it is the Subida del Muerto, the rise of the dead, the sensation that a deceased person is sitting on your body. And in the Philippines, this dark entity often manifests as a batibat, a monstrous, fat creature that sits on victims while they sleep, causing suffocation. It is often believed to be the spirit of a person who died in the structure of the house itself. Whether this entity is a shared neural glitch in the human mind or a genuine malevolent spirit is a question that continues to haunt us. But Helena's story offers a compelling answer for those who believe. The ultimate defense against a monster that attacks you when you are most vulnerable is a power greater than the fear itself. She found her strength not in fighting the grip, but in calling on a name that could break the darkness. Helena's insight is a powerful final thought for all of us. When our minds and bodies are neglected, the shadow finds an easier entrance. Take care of yourself, be present, and protect your inner peace, because when the black figure comes, your last defense may be the light you carry within. Before we close this segment, please remember to visit storiesphilippines.com to submit your own harrowing tale. We want to hear about your experience with the paranormal, the historical, or the simply unexplainable. All the details are in the show notes. And if these chilling tales resonate with you, please show your support for the podcast. Your likes, follows, and shares help us tremendously. You can also support us financially through the links in the show notes, including our Patreon, where you'll get access to exclusive, extended episodes and other content. Please check out our new website at storiesphilippines.com for all the latest updates. Do you believe the black figure that suffocated Helena was a trick of a fevered mind? Or something far darker that only prayer could conquer? Let that question sit with you until the next time we meet in the darkness.